is all I know. I'm stacking wins over here. I got the Lord on my side. I'm just making that clear. I fear no man but him. I balls above the rim. And when it's game time, I'm suited up first in the gym. No, I don't do no playing. I got my head in the game. Bringing pain to my opponents. Watch me put them the same. This is Xperts Corner. Boy, remember the name. We big dogging with them sticks. You better stay in your lane. Cause we professional. Streaming live and digital. Practice for you step up. Cause it can get repetitive for real.
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Xpert, and we back for another episode of Cowboys Corner, episode number 2. We had to take a week off, had to go out of town for some work in Houston, but we're back, and so we're going to talk about 2 games. We'll have some highlights from the Giants game. Then we're going to go into our week 6 picks, as well as, like you know, we got to talk about top 3, bottom 3, and there's some new teams in both sets. But first, let's talk about the Panther game. And we talked in episode 1 about what I felt the Cowboys had to do, and that was they had to establish that line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. The Carolina Panthers have a very good front four. They like to get after the quarterback. They are very, very fast, and it allows those linebackers kind of free roam, and you had to control some things. So I just wanted to go over a couple stats. Dak Prescott has been on fire this year, and he didn't have one of those games where you look at the stats and says, oh my gosh, he threw for 350 yards. He's dotting up the Carolina Panthers. What he did was he only threw for 188, 4 touchdowns. But here's the great thing about it. No interceptions, no sacks. The offensive line for the Dallas Cowboys dominated in this football game, and they dominated not only in the pass game, keeping Dak Prescott clean, but then we talk about Ezekiel Elliott, 20 carries, 143 yards. Tony Pollard, 10 carries, 67 yards. Zeke averaging 7 yards a carry. Tony Pollard averaging 6.7. Again, we talked about that 1-2 punch with this Dallas Cowboy football team. And if you look on the other side of the football, exactly what needed to happen, the Dallas Cowboy defense, early on in that game, it looked like the Panthers were just going to do whatever they wanted to do. They kind of drove down the field a couple times. Sam Darnold puts the ball in the end zone running the football. Then Dan Quinn goes in at halftime and he adjusts his defense and says, guys, listen, he likes DJ Moore. He likes these wide receivers to get them in open spots in the zone. So he went man most of that second half and pretty much shut down the Carolina Panthers in the second half until they got the big lead. Once they got the big lead, and that's going to be the negative side of it. You know, of course, Trayvon Diggs has another interception in the Panther game. He's just all over the place, doing a great job on defense. But Dan Quinn kind of changed that defense up in the second half, shut them down in the third quarter, allowed the Cowboys to get some turnovers and really put the game away with that offense just pounding the rock and then Dak finding open guys in the end zone. But the negative from this Panther game was we got a big lead. And it's like we kind of took that breath, right? And was like, okay, we got the big lead. The game's over. We've won. You know, Trayvon Diggs comes out. I know they talked about load management for Trayvon, but I think it was more Trayvon got stepped on. His back was kind of tweaked a little bit. And you could tell he was limited in practice that following week. But, luckily came out and played in the Giant game. But then we kind of took our foot off the gas on both sides of the football, not just offensively, but defensively, and kind of just allowed the Panthers to get back in the game. And I think that's one of the things we have to do better as a football team is when you have a team down, put that team away. Finish them. You know, it's one of those things where if you let a team hang around, and we can reference, let's look at what happened in the Colts-Ravens game, right? The Colts go out to this big lead. They think, okay, we've got them. They kind of slow their offense down. They run the football a little bit more. Jonathan Taylor did a really good job in that game, running the football. Carson Wentz had a good game. But they allowed the Ravens to stick around. And before you know it, you looked up and it's like, oh, crap, this is only an 11-point game. It's a 10-point game. We got to put our foot back on the gas. And a lot of times, once that momentum shifts, it's hard. It's hard to get back into that mode of dominating a football team. And that's kind of what the Cowboys did with the Panthers. Luckily at the end, they made enough plays offensively and defensively to kind of put the Panthers away. Then after the Panthers game, and you see I have his jersey on. We want to pay respect to Jalen Smith. He did such an amazing job for the Dallas Cowboys to come back from the injury, where basically couldn't pick his leg up, to be a Pro Bowler, to get the big contract, and then he just never quite fit into the Dan Quinn system. You put on the tape, he's a hustle guy. Like, I always respected Jalen Smith because he was always a hustle guy. He was always a team guy. He was always a build up, boost up, get this team's attitude right, and you got to love him for that if you're a Cowboy fan. But I just think that linebacker room just got way too crowded. Cox, they draft Jabril Cox. Keanu Neal comes over, and you first thought when Keanu Neal came over, okay, he's going to play strong safety, but Dan Quinn had always planned on him being at linebacker. You got Van Der Esch, another guy who's playing for a contract. Of course, you got Micah Parsons, the rookie that's just been a standout. He's come in from day one and just been an amazing football player, no matter if they line him at defense end or middle linebacker, outside linebacker. So I think it just got crowded, and knowing Jalen had that injury clause coming up for next year, and then the report coming out that they asked Jalen kind of void that injury clause, and I think if he voids it, he stays on the Cowboys. He says, "No, I'm not going to void that," and rightfully so. Nothing against Jalen Smith. I wouldn't have avoided the $9 million. I mean, come on, you got to be smart now. You got to be business smart. I mean, your heart is in one place as a Cowboy. You got to be business smart and take care of yourself and your family. He did the right thing by saying, "No, I'm not going to void it. We put that in my contract for a purpose." And just blessed that Jalen Smith found a spot in Green Bay. I wish him the best. My father is a Packer fan. We talked about him. I'm glad he's in Green Bay. Maybe he can make an impact for those Packers. And who knows, maybe we see the Packers in the playoffs sometime and kind of get to see what Jalen can do versus us. But we wanted to wear his jersey. I got this one last year. And Jalen is now a Packer, so this will be the last time the jersey is worn until he retires from the NFL. This one will go in the back of the closet. It will become a retro at that point. But let's move on quickly and move to the Giants game. And coming into the Giants game, I already knew we had an advantage because the Giants were already injured quite a bit on the offensive side of football. They were without two of their top wide receivers. And then early in the game, Saquon Barkley goes down. He only has 2 carries the entire day. He had no catches. So he basically had 2 times where he touches the football. And Barkley had been playing well. He gets the freak accident where he rolls his ankle on Jordan Lewis. And then Daniel Jones, 5 of 13 for 98 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. The big thing for me is that Daniel Jones has been playing well this year. Yes, I agree. He has played above the level that we've seen him play at in past years. And he was not doing bad versus the Cowboys. And then he had the run where he tried to run over Jabril Cox, lowers his head. He gets the concussion, and we wish him nothing but the best. Because I'm going to tell you right now, Mike Glennon is not it. Mike Glennon comes in, he goes 16 to 25, 196, and most of that going to Kadarius Toney, who had the game of his life, 10 catches, 189 yards, and then gets in the scuffle there in the late in the third or in the fourth quarter and throws the punch and gets ejected. But Mike Glennon, and it could be just he's not taking a lot of snaps. He throws the pick to Trayvon Diggs, who again has another great game. And then he throws the pick 6 to Anthony Brown. It's good to see 3-0 make a big play there in the game. He's played well this year. I know people are waiting for Kelvin Joseph to come back as well as I am as well, which is just going to add more depth to this secondary. But let's look on the offensive side of the football. Cedric Wilson is 1 for 1. Is Cedric Wilson the future at quarterback in Dallas? 1 for 1. He should have had a touchdown. He had CeeDee Lamb flying down the sideline for a touchdown. Should have been an easy touchdown. But let's talk Dakota Rain Prescott. 22 of 32, 302, 3 touchdowns, and a pick early in the game off of a great play by the defensive end of the Giants. Just tips the ball up and go gets it. He has Zeke wide open. But then let's talk about this tandem in the backfield that we continue to talk about, and we will talk about on Cowboys Corner every single week as long as they're playing like this. Zeke, 21 carries, 110 yards. He averaged 5 yards every time he touched it and 1 touchdown. He also caught a touchdown. Tony Pollard, 14 carries, 75 yards. He's averaging 5.4 yards a carry. Between those two, 185 yards on 35 carries. You cannot ask for anything better out of your tandem running back duo that is just lighting up the NFL. And they almost squeaked into my top 3 this week. I wanted to put them in the top 3 this week. I'm trying to hold out as a Cowboy fan because I don't want people to be like, he's only putting him in the top 3 because he's a Cowboy fan. Yes, I want to put him at number 2 so bad. And then I put somebody else at 2. And then I was like, okay, well, then if they're not 2, they got to be 3. And then I said, okay, let's hold them out one more week. Let's see what they do the week before the bye going up against the Patriots. And that's the last thing. What do they have to do versus the Patriots? It's real simple. The same thing they've been doing. Control the line of scrimmage, keep Dak Prescott clean, and allow Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard to do their thing. They will dominate this New England Patriots team. And then on the defensive side of the football, it's make Mac Jones uncomfortable. Simple as that. Make the rookie feel uncomfortable. Mac Jones has proven, he has shown he doesn't get flustered. He had Tom Brady come back to New England, the fanfare, all the things he's heard about Tom Brady, all these great things. He's watched Tom Brady growing up. Tom Brady is lighting the NFL up there in Tampa Bay, and he dual battled him shot for shot in that game, Tampa Bay versus New England, and should have got a victory in that game. So you cannot let the young guy get some confidence early on. You got to go smack him in the mouth. And that's what I expect them to do. I expect the Cowboys to put some pressure on him, control the run game, and then allow this secondary to fly around the football and just continue to disrupt wide receivers. And we'll see, can Trayvon Diggs make it 6 games in a row this season? We're not even going to go back to last season what he did, but if he can he get another one this week in week 6 and make it 6 in a row to start the season? Trayvon Diggs definitely one of the top cornerbacks in the league. I'm not going to put him at number 1 because there's still a guy named Jalen Ramsey playing for the Rams. There's Xavier Howard playing for the Dolphins. I still think there's some great cornerbacks, but Trayvon Diggs is slowly putting his name in that category. You got to put some respect on him. The kid is playing out of his mind right now, and he's got all the confidence in the world. He should have had 2 versus the Giants. He let 1 slip out his hands. He should have had 2, and then he baits the post, which is so Deion Sanders-esque, and that's been thrown around so much this week. If you got to see around in the war room here, in the game room, the man cave, whatever you want to call it, Stream Central, it is nothing but Deion Sanders in this room. Every poster he's been on is in this room. I have jersey hanging up. This is my Deion Sanders cave because he is one of the greatest athletes to ever put on a pair of cleats. Whether it was for baseball, for football, he's just an amazing athlete. And to me, the greatest cornerback of all time, and it's not even close. It's Deion Sanders, and then you can name anybody else you want. Automatically goes number 2, and you could put him all the way down far 2 on the list. And so to put Trayvon Diggs in that category is weird to me, but it was Deion Sanders-esque to let the wide receiver think he was open, to let the quarterback think he was open as soon as he throw it. Trayvon Diggs put them burners on and said, no, sir, that belongs to me. Give me that. And I love to see it. But we got the Patriots this week, and then we got a bye week coming up. Let's put a clamp on the NFC East right here. This is an opportunity to take over at this point. You have to beat these teams. When you play against a New England team, these are the teams you have to beat. You have to put New England away early, and you have to put your foot on their neck and finish the Patriots off. Do not let this team hang around. Before we get into week 6 picks and the top 3 and bottom 3, let's take a look at some highlights from the Giants game, and make sure you hit that subscribe button. Tap that notification bell so you do not miss an episode of the Cowboys Corner. Until then, man, I appreciate y'all tuning in, appreciate all the support. But let's get into the highlights. All right, let's take a look at a couple highlights from the Cowboys and the Giants game. First one is the absolute filthiest dot of the day. I might think the Amari Cooper one's a little bit better, but I like this one to CeeDee Lamb. It's on Bradbury, who arguably is one of the best cornerbacks in the league. Had an amazing season last year. He struggled a little bit this year, but he's still a good corner. And CeeDee Lamb just basically runs right past him here, and Dak Prescott throws this on a rope to CeeDee Lamb. And once he gets the ball in his hands, that guy is just absolutely filthy. All right, the second highlight is another dot by Dak Prescott. You see he's got CeeDee Lamb and Cedric Wilson up top. He's got Amari Cooper one-on-one down here. And he does have safety help on this play, which makes this an even better throw, as Dak Prescott is going to find a way to fit it in here to Amari Cooper. And this is a dot right here in between those two secondary players for the Giants in a crazy window right before halftime. All right, here's the last highlight, and then we'll get into our picks and top three, bottom three. This is the interception by Trayvon Diggs. We got to show some love. You see him up top. He's got man-to-man coverage against the Giants wide receiver. No safety help. This is it. You versus him, man. He runs to the concession stand, buy him popcorn and a drink man-to-man. Wherever he goes, you go. And that's what I love about Trayvon Diggs. He's not afraid to be in man-to-man coverage with no safety help. And he's going to bait this throw. You're going to actually see he's going to have to slow down a little bit when he gets to the football because he had turned the burners on to get to this post. And Mike Glenn is not playing bad at this point. He's 4 for 4, 50 yards. He's thrown the ball to Kadarius Toney a couple times, got some big gains. But he's going to try to take a shot here against one of the best corners in the league. And Trayvon Diggs is going to bait him into this interception. Not a bad throw here by Glennon. Just a better play here by Trayvon Diggs. All right, let's take a look at the picks. Of course, you know, tonight we have Thursday Night Football. We got the Bucks and the Eagles tonight. Of course, you know, as a Cowboy fan, it is against the rules for me to pick Philadelphia. And it just so happens they're playing against a really, really good football team. I'm taking Tampa Bay in this one. Next up, you got the Miami Dolphins going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. This was a difficult pick for me. Miami has not been playing well. Jacksonville, let's not hide anything. Let's not pull any punches. They're going to be in the bottom three again this week. I'm sorry. You're going to be stuck in the bottom three until you get a W. And this may be the week they get it. But I picked Miami in this week just for the simple fact that I think this Dolphins defense is a little bit better than Jacksonville. So I'm going to take the Miami Dolphins. Next up, we got an NFC North rivalry game. It's the Packers going to Chicago to play the Bears. Justin Fields, another start. How does he play? How did the Packers come off after that game against the Bengals that, you know, went really back and forth until Mason Crosby in kick number 26 in the game finally decides to put it through the uprights and get a W. I'm taking Green Bay because I still think they're a superior team. Next up, it's those Bengals coming off a tough loss versus Green Bay. Should have won the ball game. Jamar Chase playing exceptionally well. Joe Burrow, he practiced this week on how to slide because he almost ended his career trying to get a first down on 3rd and long. But they get the Detroit Lions, who it pains me to see the Lions at this level because they are so close to so many W's. And I want to take them out of the bottom three, but they have 0. They can't find a way to get a win. I don't think it happens this week either. I think the Cincinnati Bengals are a better football team, and they beat the Detroit Lions. Next up, you got the Houston Texans versus the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts should have beat the Ravens on Monday night. Should have beat them. They allowed the Ravens to stick around. You can't do that in the NFL, but they beat the Texans, Indianapolis with a win. Rams versus the Giants. Who on that Giants offense is healthy? Who plays? Who knows? I haven't kept up with it. I really don't care because I think the Rams are just a better team. Even if the Giants were 100% healthy, I'm taking the Rams here. Kansas City versus Washington. Here's another toss-up game. Washington, Heineke, I like him. I do like him. He's a good story. He's a feel-good story in the NFL. I want him to be successful, but I also can't pick him, so I'm taking the Chiefs. Minnesota going against Carolina. The Vikings again, regular season superstar Minnesota Vikings. I'm sorry, that's what they are. You got the stat pattern himself and Kirk Cousins going up against the Carolina Panthers, who now are coming off of back-to-back losses. They get beat by the Cowboys. They dominate the Eagles in the first half and then fall apart and get beat by the Eagles. And what sucks is I think they get beat again. I'm taking Minnesota in this one, an upset on the road. Next up, the matchup of the week. You got the Chargers going up against the Baltimore Ravens. Who folds? Does Lamar Jackson have an off game after he throws for 400 yards? Is it Justin Herbert's show? I'm taking the Chargers here. I think they're a better team. Next up, another big matchup. You got the hottest team in the NFL, the Arizona Cardinals, only team undefeated, but they're going up against Baker Mayfield and those Cleveland Browns. And I want to take Arizona so bad, I really do. I think this is the game, though, that the perfect season ends, right? I just think Cleveland is just going to come in here. It's at home. You're in front of your home crowd. You know, Baker Mayfield is shot 826 commercials here at the stadium, so he knows the surroundings. I think Baker Mayfield and these Cleveland Browns find a way to win. I like Cleveland this one. Next up, the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Denver Broncos. And the Raiders are falling apart from the inside out, as well they should be. Regardless what you think about John Gruden, man, there's some of those things you just can't say. You just can't say some of those things that he knows better. But I think the Las Vegas Raiders rally here. I think they rally. Derek Carr gets in that locker room. He's a big part of that locker room leadership. He gets this team focused, and the Raiders upset Denver at home. Next up, Dallas at New England. Let's not waste any time. Cowboys every single time, no matter who they play. Seattle Seahawks going up against the Steelers. Steelers coming off of a big win. Nobody thought they were winning. I picked them last week. Of course they won. Steelers playing against the Seahawks. No Russell Wilson for the next 6 to 8 weeks. It's the Geno Smith show. Does Geno Smith have enough to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers? I think he does. I'm going with Geno Smith. I'm taking Seattle. And then the Monday night game, Buffalo Bills going up against the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans, they're going to hand the ball off to Derrick Henry 25, 26, 28, 30 times. But it's not enough. Josh Allen playing out of his mind. The Buffalo Bills win this one. All right, let's get into the bottom three first. And it's no surprise. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars. Urban Meyer over his head. He came out the other day and said, you saw him on a clip, saying it's like he's playing Alabama every single week in the NFL. That just screams, I'm in over my head. Then he has the incident where he doesn't go home with the team. He stays there and gets in trouble. The Jaguars, they got to win a game before they get out this bottom spot. I'm sorry. I can't take you out the bottom spot till you win a game. As much as I love Trevor Lawrence and what he stands for and what he does on the football field, you can't get out the bottom three till you get a W. I mean, that's just how it works. If you offer, you're in the bottom three. And speaking of offer, them offer Lions, they're going to be in the bottom three. They should have a couple wins already. Should already have a couple wins. Justin Tucker, I mean, he hits a 66-yard field goal that hits off the crossbar and goes in. I mean, that's the Lions' luck, right? Till you get a win, got to be in the bottom three. Next up, a new contestant in the bottom three is those Giants. If Saquon Barkley's not healthy, those wide receivers aren't healthy, Daniel Jones isn't healthy, they're not winning many games. They're going to be in the bottom three. But let's look at the top three. And this should be no surprise. There's only one team undefeated in the NFL. That's right. As long as Arizona is undefeated, they will be in the number one spot. Until they get knocked out of being undefeated, they have to be the number one team in the NFL. You can't take that away from them. They are the best team in the NFL, period. And so they got the number one spot. Number two, I'm putting those Buffalo Bills. They put a beat down on the Chiefs the other night. They put a beat down on the Chiefs. Josh Allen playing well. You got Stephon Diggs, of course. Now he's got Knox at tight end. He's finding a way to get that guy involved. That defense flying around the football. They're in the number two spot. Now here's where my Homer fan base. I wanted to put the Cowboys at 3. I did. I thought long and hard about putting the Cowboys here at 3. I almost put them here at 2 and put Buffalo at 3. But then I kind of had to have that discussion with myself and say, nah, don't do that. Don't do that. If the Cowboys go into the bye week with another win and these next Buffalo or this next team slips up, I'm putting the Cowboys there, but I can't put them there yet. So I'm going to leave the Chargers in the top 3 right now. I'm going to leave them in the top 3. Herbert's playing well. This team is playing well. The Chargers are a good football team. They run the football. They throw the football. That defense is fast. They fly around. They get after the quarterback. I know the Cowboys beat them. I know they did. But this is a good football team. And so as long as they're winning, as long as Buffalo winning, Arizona's winning, they're going to be my top 3 for a while. Unless the Cowboys just come out and physically dominate the Patriots and one of these two teams slip and have to win a game maybe in overtime or late in the fourth quarter or it's a 7-3 ball game. It'd be tough for Cowboys to take 3, even though I wanted to put them at 2. But for right now, it's going to be Arizona, Buffalo, and those LA Chargers at 1, 2, and 3, the 3 best teams in NFL. Put in the comments, guys. You let me know who should be the top 3 teams. Did I get it right? Are the top three teams the Cardinals, the Bills, and the Chargers? Or you put your top 3 in the chat here in the comments. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, tap that notification bell so you do not miss an episode of Cowboys Corner. We will be back next week to recap the Patriots game and then talk about some injury news, going into the bye week as we get ready for the Minnesota Vikings on the other side of our bye week on the 31st. Until next time, it's your boy Xpert, and I'm out.